Want to know exactly how I decide if a house flip is worth it or a fast pass to losing $50,000? Many new investors believe in the gurus and think analyzing a house flip is just 75% ARV minus the repairs, and that's why they lose money. I'm Melissa Covington, a real estate investor and coach in the San Francisco Bay Area. I've done over 80 flips with an average of 6-figure profits. Analyzing house flips the right way means getting brutally realistic about the numbers and analyzing it case by case. In this video, I'm breaking down my full house flip formula from comps to rehab costs to hidden costs, so you can analyze flips like a pro. I've run this same analysis on hundreds of properties and it saved me from 6-figure mistakes more than once. The number one mistake new house flippers make is they get emotional about the house and fudge the numbers to make it work. Not every lead is a deal. I actually walk away from 95% of the leads I get because numbers don't lie. You're not buying a home for yourself. You're buying an investment that needs to justify a return. If the numbers don't work, it's not a deal. Period. Before we get to my house flip formula, I want to mention that there's so many gurus out there who teach beginners this very simple formula. 75% ARV minus repairs equals the max offer price. They made it sound like it's a one-size-fits-all. You just need this one magic formula and you can analyze a deal like a pro. But I find it ridiculous. It oversimplifies a complicated process. How can the 75% be the same across the board? Whether it's a $500,000 flip versus a $2 million flip. When you use a simple formula like that, it's just unavoidable that you're going to overpay on some deals and then offer too little on some other deals, especially on the bigger price point deals. And then you're going to miss out on those opportunities. So I don't buy what the gurus say at all. And I use a comprehensive formula that allows me to analyze every deal case by case. Here's my house flipping formula. It all starts from the ARV, the after repair value. From there, you deduct the rehab cost, the agent commission, closing costs, financing costs, and miscellaneous costs, and then your desired profit, and then you get to the max purchase price. This formula is not as simple to use as the 75% rule, but it allows you to use the most realistic numbers to simulate what's actually going to happen on your flip. Now you know my tried and true formula. Let me explain each of these costs. The formula starts with the ARV. So that's like the foundation of your entire calculation. If that number is incorrect, then the entire calculation falls apart. So how do you get to the most accurate ARV? It's really important that you learn to comp or to use comparable sales to determine the resale value of your house. So you want to look at the properties that were sold recently in a small area, ideally the same exact neighborhood as the subject property. The comps you use have to be very fresh, ideally within the last 3 to 6 months, because if you find yourself looking at comps from 2 years ago, chances are that that comp is not going to be good indication of what your house will sell for. This is especially important when the market conditions are changing. If the market is going up and the further back you look will result in underestimate of the after repair value. So you can lose out on a lot of opportunities. Vice versa, if the market condition is going downhill, then the further back you look, the more optimistic you would be regarding the after repair value, which could be a big misleading and can cause you to lose a lot of money. We've already mentioned that it's key to find comparable sales that are in the same exact neighborhood as your subject property, ideally within the same school district, because the school district can have a great impact on the home sale price. And of course, the comps should share the same bedroom bathroom count and similar in square footage. You also need to adjust for any amenities, the year built, and the lot size. Now that you've got the formula and the ARV, here's what most people screw up, the rehab cost. Most beginners mess up the rehab cost because without any experience, it's really difficult to accurately estimate the rehab cost. And a lot of people want to rely on a golden number, like a price per square foot, but I don't believe that's the right way to do it because the price per square foot is going to be different on every house, depending on the year built, depending on the condition of the home, and depending on the finishes that you choose. There are 3 different levels of rehab. The light rehab usually includes paint, flooring, and new fixtures, and it costs about $40,000 to $50,000. And medium level rehab includes kitchen, bathroom renovation, and roof replacement, and it usually runs around $100,000 to $150,000. A heavy rehab includes layout changes, electrical plumbing upgrades, and other major system upgrades, and it can run you $200,000 plus in renovation costs. If you are a beginner and you can't rely on a guesstimate number cost per square foot to estimate the rehab cost, what should you do? The best way is to get contractor bids. The more contractor bids you can get, the more accurate your rehab cost estimate would be. The contractor bids don't just give you an estimate. It tells you that someone can actually do that job at that price. So when it comes time for you to start the renovation, you have someone to turn to. When you get multiple contractor bids, it's really important that you compare them and make sure that every bid is complete and you're comparing apples to apples. It's very common for contractors to miss out on some of the scope of work, and then it shows that the bid is lower than others because they didn't include everything. So as an investor, it's your job to make sure that you catch those mistakes early on so you don't get misled by a lower number. And as an investor, it's also very important that you accurately estimate the rehab cost because if you don't, your profit disappears. Next up are the easily forgotten numbers, the holding costs, miscellaneous costs, closing costs that a lot of times new investors tend to forget to include. The financing costs includes all the interest payments you need to make to your lenders, usually hard money lenders. So you need to calculate all the holding costs based on the duration of the projects. If you plan to take the project for about 4 to 6 months, then that's the estimate that you need to include. And the other costs include the agent commission, closing costs, insurance, staging, utilities, etc. If you forget any of these hidden numbers, your profit can take a hit, and when it comes time to calculate your actual profit, you could go from a positive number to a negative one. If you only take one thing from this video, it's house flipping isn't about emotions, but about the numbers. If you use my formula, stay disciplined, 95% of your mistakes will disappear. If you want my exact deal analyzer, DM me on Instagram and I'll send it to you. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to check out my latest flip before and after by tapping on the video on the screen. See you next time.